We'll give it a little bit, see if anybody shows up in here. I've tossed around the idea of doing like a Q&A because I get so many questions in my email messages and in the comments that I thought, well, maybe this will be an easier way to answer them because when it comes to responding to emails, I'm not super fast. So we'll see if anybody wants to jump on and ask any questions. I can answer them this way a lot easier than responding to emails. So, but I've also never done this before. So I don't know what all these buttons do. So I'm just clicking buttons, not sure what they're doing. Yeah, we don't want that. How do I get rid of that? There we go. I guess the green screen is for people don't want you to see what's in the background, but you guys have seen the inside of my truck a lot. Maybe not this truck. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what that highlight thing is, but that's not what we're here for anyway. Anybody got any trucking questions? Shoot them at me. I decided just to do it in the truck because that was the quietest area. Anybody that watches a lot of my videos knows that I have 5 kids. My house gets kind of loud. Today was a good day to do a live because my youngest is out of town for a cheerleading competition. So my house is a little bit calmer, but we'll see. I'll give it a little bit. I've given a little bit of a notice that I was going to answer questions this way rather than just responding to tons of emails. I'm not sure if the people that sent me all the emails saw that community post or not, but give them a chance to jump on and ask some questions before I decide that maybe the live wasn't the best way to go about answering questions. We'll see. I figure give it a little bit anyways. I will say one of the biggest questions that I get for anybody that ends up watching this later is whether you should or shouldn't get into hotshot trucking. Seems to be the biggest question everybody ever asks me. And that isn't just a cut and dry answer. That's dependent on so many different things. And like my whole family, we loved it at first. And I still like the idea of trucking, but right now, I mean, I would say, hi Lena, I would say right now is probably not the best time to get into it, but at the same time, if you can make it now, then you could definitely make it when it gets better. So anybody that ends up watching this later, that first hi comment that I got is my niece. Any of the boxing videos that you see on my channel, usually in the shorts, is her. Because even if, I don't get a bunch of people on here asking me questions, I probably will leave this up anyways. And I'll just go ahead and answer a couple of the questions that I have gotten in some emails. One guy wanted to know what is entailed in starting your company. And he, I didn't quite understand the question and I asked for clarification and then he never commented again. But he said, how much does it cost per month for your DOT and MC number? And the DOT and MC numbers themselves don't have like reoccurring monthly costs. I mean, there are other costs, like you file your UCR every year. You have to do a Bach 3 filing every 2 or 3 years. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I hired somebody to take care of that for me. Um, I mean, insurance is the main thing, and that's my biggest news right now is my problem with it with insurance. But that, I mean, is really the biggest cost, other than obviously your equipment. You can't run the company without the equipment, but um, I mean, that's a given. But other than your truck, trailer, whatever, there's insurance. Um, I would say that probably for most people going to be even more than the truck payment. And then if you're on, say, central dispatch hauling cars, that is one after taxes like 135 bucks a month just to use that. A lot of people will say, "Oh, it's not worth it. I just canceled it." I did that for a little while, but I mean, it's 135 bucks. If you're working a 9 to 5 job, I get it. That's a monthly expense you don't need, but if you're running a business, 135 bucks for a load board shouldn't make or break you. But I mean, that's pretty much it for reoccurring costs. You got insurance, your load boards, and your equipment. Other than that, everything else is up to you. You're going to have your meals, your hotels, all that stuff to keep in mind. And hotels add up. When you're on the road, hotels and food really add up. For a while there, when I was traveling long distances, my wife would like pack me a cooler before I left, probably more to hope that I didn't spend too much money on food. But and when I would take the boys with me during the summer, um, that got even more expensive. Then you're feeding three people. They needed a hotel big enough, for all three of us, rather than just sleeping in the backseat of the truck. I kind of had it made. I had a blow up bed back there that took up the whole back seat, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I'm a little bit tall to go side to side in the truck, but it wasn't too bad. It was a good way to cut down on costs. But then I'd say the past year, I've really only done local stuff. I mean, I've done a couple longer trips, but for the most part, I've been home just about every night. And the only reason for the last 6 months at least that I've been able to afford local, because people see these videos and think, oh, one car trailer and local, and he's home every night and he's doing it. Well, the only reason that I'm able to maintain hauling one car at a time is because if you're only picking up one, you can take the best car you can find. And where I live, ACV is right out of Buffalo. So that's pretty easy for me to find consistent work. But it's not going to be like that for everybody. I have responded to a few emails of people asking me, they have a single car trailer, a 16, 20 foot, whatever trailer, and a Ram 1500. Can they get into hauling cars? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I would not advise it. I mean, the only reason that I'm able to go the way I am, being on the ACV preferred carrier status, helps out a lot. I get access to a lot of those loads that they'll drop off. A lot of other people don't see them because somebody that's a preferred carrier that sees them first is going to take them. So I have access to them. I do get, quite a bit of phone calls from people to move things. I did get into moving equipment because that paid a little more. But to start out with a single car trailer, I wouldn't recommend it. Um, and I just, if I could go back and do it over, I probably wouldn't have bought a truck. I probably would have just started renting. Um, Luckily in New York State, it's unlimited miles, so I'm not paying, you know, a rental company by the mile. That's really the only reason that it was able to work for me. If I had to pay by the mile, there's no way I would ever make any money, especially when I was, the one out of the four trailers I've used, one of them I had a pretty hefty payment on. The rest of them I didn't have payments, but with that one, I'd have been out of business a long time ago. So I wouldn't recommend it. Not with a single. Start with at least a 2 and work your way to a 3. I mean, I see it slowly leaning back towards, as far as longevity, slowly leaning back towards semi trucks hauling cars. I haven't seen a whole lot of hotshot companies stay open like super long term. I mean, there are a few, and some people really know how to run them, but the problem is it's so cutthroat with the rates. Um, a lot of people just will work a lot cheaper, and I refuse to. So, I mean, I'm maintaining, but I'm sure as heck not getting rich. I'm not at a point where I can build a big fleet, off of what I'm doing. It's pretty much like you own your job. You can make your own schedule, you write your own paycheck, but you're not, having $1 million years, that's for sure. So that's all I got, really. Um, as far as, a few questions that people have asked me in emails, that's really about it. I have had, quite a few more that I've answered in videos. I know one guy was curious to know what loads were on central dispatch in his area. Um, and I mean that's another hard question because I mean you could see what a load is right now. It's going to be completely different. The hotspots change by the day. So if anybody wants to know anything else, just shoot me an email, leave me a comment, something. Let me know. I'll answer it in a regular video, and we'll see if we can get another live scheduled at some point.